At a very busy international airport, people from all over the world were rushing to catch their flights. The airport was full of travelers, airport staff, and people waiting for their loved ones. Among the travelers was a Japanese woman named Aiko. She was not just any traveler. She was part of a big business group visiting many countries to explore new opportunities and make important deals. Aiko was calm and polite, always careful about her words and actions. She spoke Japanese as her first language and was learning English, but her English had a clear Japanese accent. On that day, Aiko arrived early at the airport with her group. The group was made up of several business leaders from Japan who worked together on large projects. They had spent months planning this trip because it was very important for their company. Everyone was excited but also tired from the long journey ahead. As Aiko and her group reached the check-in counter, they were greeted by airport staff. The staff's job was to help travelers check their bags and get boarding passes for their flights. Normally, this would be a simple and quick process, but something happened that day which changed everything. When it was Aiko's turn, she politely spoke to the staff member at the counter. She asked questions and explained her needs carefully. Because of her accent, the staff member found it hard to understand her at first. Instead of being patient and helpful, the staff member started to smile in a way that was not kind. Then the staff member made fun of Aiko's accent by repeating her words in a loud and exaggerated way. This surprised Aiko and made her feel embarrassed. Aiko's friends in the group noticed what was happening. Some of them looked shocked, and others felt angry, but Aiko kept calm. She believed it was important to stay polite and not create a scene. She quietly told the staff member that she wanted to finish the check-in. The staff member did not apologize or stop making rude gestures. Instead, other airport workers nearby laughed, joining in the mocking behavior. This hurt Aiko deeply. She had traveled many times before and never experienced such disrespect. For her, it was not just about the accent. It was about feeling belittled and not respected as a person. The airport staff's behavior made her feel small and unwanted in a place where she should have felt safe and welcomed. After the check-in was over, Aiko left the counter but could not stop thinking about what had happened. She told her colleagues, quietly, explaining how she had felt during the incident. Her friends and business partners listened carefully and showed their support. They understood that this was not just an ordinary moment but something serious. The group gathered together away from the crowd. They talked about the importance of respect and kindness in every situation, especially when people are far from home and in unfamiliar places. They knew their trip was important for business, but they also believed that no business success was worth losing their dignity. Aiko's story quickly spread within the group. Everyone felt the incident was unfair and unacceptable. They decided they could not let this moment be forgotten or ignored. They wanted the airport and the airlines involved to understand how serious this was. But instead of reacting with anger, they chose to act wisely and strongly. The group took time to plan their response carefully. They wanted to make sure their message was clear and respectful, showing the importance of cultural understanding and the value of every traveler. At the same time, they wanted to protect their reputation and influence as a business group. Behind the scenes, the leaders of the group contacted their business advisors and legal teams to understand what steps they could take. They realized they had significant power because they were important investors and clients for the airlines that served the airport. They could use this power to encourage better behavior and respect for all travelers. The group's decision was firm. They would withdraw all their investments and any business dealings with the airlines involved in the incident unless the situation was addressed seriously. This was a bold move because the total value of their investments was very large, nearly $1 billion. It was a strong message that disrespect and discrimination would have consequences. Meanwhile, Aiko tried to focus on the business meetings and plans ahead. But inside, she knew the experience at the airport had changed something important. It was a reminder that even in the modern world, people sometimes face judgment because of how they speak or where they come from. She hoped her story would help bring awareness and create positive change for future travelers. As the group continued their journey, they stayed united in their decision. They sent formal letters to the airlines explaining what had happened and asking for action. The letters were respectful but clear. The airlines must improve their staff training and ensure that all customers, no matter their background, were treated with dignity. The airlines were surprised when they received the letters. They had not expected such a powerful group to take this matter so seriously. Behind closed doors, airline executives began to discuss the incident and its potential impact on their business. They understood that losing such a large investment could affect their company's future. At the same time, news of the incident started to spread beyond the group. Some journalists picked up the story and shared it with the public. Many people around the world began to talk about the importance of cultural respect and how airports and airlines must do better. The story of Aiko and her group became an example of how small moments of disrespect can lead to big consequences. Through this experience, the travel group learned something important about the power of dignity and respect. They showed that even when faced with hurt and unfair treatment, it is possible to respond thoughtfully and create change. Their actions were a message not only to the airlines, but to all companies and individuals. Kindness and understanding must come first. In the end, this was not just a story about a rude moment at the airport. It was a story about standing up for what is right, about culture, and about how respect can change the world, one step at a time. After the incident at the airport, the Japanese business group was deeply affected. They had come to the foreign country with hopes of building new relationships and growing their business. But what happened to Aiko left a heavy feeling on everyone's minds. The group had always believed in respect and kindness as important values in both business and life. This event made them realize just how important it was to stand up for those values, even when it might be difficult. The members of the group gathered in their hotel conference room. The room was quiet at first, filled with thoughtful faces. They all knew that the situation at the airport was more than just a small problem. It was a sign of a bigger issue. It was a reminder that even today, people can be treated unfairly because of how they speak or where they come from. For a group that represented such a large part of the business world, this was something they could not ignore. The leader of the group, Mr. Tanaka, spoke first. He was a calm and wise man who had spent many years building trust and partnerships around the world. "We cannot let this disrespect be forgotten," he said softly but firmly. "Our group stands for dignity and respect. We have the power to make a change, and we must use it wisely." Everyone nodded. They agreed that the first step was to fully understand the impact of the incident and decide what actions would send a clear message without causing unnecessary harm. They wanted to show that they were serious about respect, but also that they wanted to help the airlines improve, not destroy them. The group spent the next several hours discussing their options. They talked about contacting the airport management, writing letters to the airline companies, and even speaking with the media to raise awareness. Most importantly, they wanted to make sure that the message was respectful but strong enough to show that discrimination would not be accepted. Aiko was quiet during the meeting. She was still upset about what had happened but felt supported by her friends. Hearing their determination made her feel hopeful. She realized that the incident could lead to positive change, not just for her, but for many others who might face similar problems in the future. After the meeting, the group decided to take official steps. They sent formal letters to the airlines involved, explaining the incident and requesting a full investigation. They asked the airlines to take responsibility and improve their staff training to prevent such disrespect from happening again. The letters also made it clear that the group was prepared to withdraw their business if the airlines did not take serious action. This decision surprised many people in the business world. It was unusual for a group to react so quickly and strongly to a single incident. But the Japanese group knew that respect was not just about words, it was about actions. They wanted to protect their culture and dignity, and they were ready to use their influence to do so. As the days passed, the airlines began to feel the pressure. Executives held meetings to discuss the situation and what it might mean for their future. Losing the group's investments would be a major financial blow. The amount was nearly $1 billion, a sum that could affect the airline's ability to grow and compete. At the same time, the airlines faced public attention. News reports started to share the story of Aiko and her group's decision. Many people around the world expressed support for the group's stand against disrespect. Social media posts, articles, and even interviews discussed the importance of cultural sensitivity and the need for better treatment of travelers from all backgrounds. The airlines realized that this was more than just a business problem. It was a chance to change their company culture. They began working on plans to improve their customer service training. They promised to educate their staff about different cultures, languages, and the importance of treating every traveler with kindness and respect. The Japanese group kept a close eye on the situation. They communicated regularly with the airlines to check on their progress. While they wanted to see real change, they also remained fair and open to dialogue. The group believed that businesses could learn from mistakes and grow stronger by respecting their customers. In the meantime, the members of the group continued their business meetings and travels. But the airport incident stayed in their minds. It became a reminder of why respect and kindness must always be part of their work. For Aiko, it was a personal lesson in patience and strength. For Mr. Tanaka and the others, it was a call to use their influence for good. The group also started to share their experience with other companies and business partners. They encouraged others to promote cultural understanding and respect in every interaction. They believed that if more people cared about these values, the world would become a better place for everyone. As the airlines worked on their new training programs, they also reached out to the Japanese group with formal apologies. They acknowledged the mistake and promised to do better. These apologies were important, but the group made it clear that words alone were not enough. They wanted to see real improvements in how staff treated travelers. The incident sparked wider discussions in the travel industry. Other airlines and airports began reviewing their own policies and training. It became clear that respect and cultural sensitivity were essential parts of customer service, especially in today's global world where people from many countries and cultures meet every day. For Aiko and her group, the airport incident became more than a painful memory. It turned into a story of courage and positive change. They showed that standing up for respect, even in difficult situations, can lead to better understanding and stronger relationships. This experience also helped many travelers feel less alone. When people heard Aiko's story, they realized that they too deserved to be treated with kindness, no matter where they came from or how they spoke. The group's actions inspired others to speak up and demand respect in their own lives. Through their careful and thoughtful response, the Japanese business group demonstrated the power of dignity and influence. They taught a valuable lesson: that respect is not something to be taken lightly, and that even small moments can have big consequences when people choose to stand together. In the end, the group's journey was about much more than business deals. It was about making the world a fairer, kinder place for everyone. And it all began with one woman's quiet strength and a group's commitment to justice. After the Japanese business group sent their official letters and made it clear that they were serious about their concerns, the airlines began to feel the full weight of the situation. The group's decision to possibly withdraw nearly $1 billion in investments was a powerful message. It showed that respect and dignity were more important than just money and profits. The airlines could no longer ignore the problem, and they knew they had to act fast. Inside the offices of the airline companies, there was a lot of discussion and concern. Executives held meetings to understand what had happened and how to respond. They realized that the incident at the airport was not just a mistake made by one employee, but a sign of a bigger problem. Many staff members had not been properly trained to deal with customers from different countries and cultures. This lack of understanding could damage the airline's reputation and business in the long run. The airline leaders decided to take immediate action. First, they reached out directly to the Japanese business group with formal apologies. These apologies were written carefully, expressing regret for the disrespect shown to Aiko and the group. They promised that steps would be taken to ensure such an incident would never happen again. However, the airlines understood that apologies alone were not enough. To keep the group's trust and investments, they had to show real change. So they started developing new training programs for their staff. These programs would teach employees about cultural sensitivity, respect, and the importance of listening carefully to every traveler, no matter where they came from or how they spoke. The training included lessons on different languages, customs, and traditions from around the world. Employees learned how to communicate politely and patiently with travelers who might speak English with an accent or use different words. The airlines also invited experts in cultural diversity to help design these programs, making sure they were effective and meaningful. At the same time, the airlines began reviewing their hiring practices. They wanted to make sure that future employees would be better prepared to work in an international environment. They looked for people who showed kindness, respect, and a willingness to learn about other cultures. This was a change from the past where the focus had been mostly on technical skills and efficiency. News of these changes spread quickly. Media outlets shared updates about the airline's efforts to improve, and many people applauded the company for listening to the concerns of the Japanese business group. The airline's commitment to cultural sensitivity became a positive story, showing that businesses could learn from their mistakes and grow. For the Japanese group, this was an important moment. They wanted to see that their concerns were being taken seriously, so they kept in close contact with the airlines, asking for regular updates on the training programs and policy changes. They also sent representatives to visit some of the training sessions, to observe how the staff were learning and changing. This careful monitoring showed the group's dedication to making sure respect and dignity were not just words, but actions. It also helped build a better relationship between the group and the airlines. Instead of being angry or distant, they became partners in creating a better travel experience for everyone. Back in Japan, the story of the airport incident and the group's response inspired many people. Business leaders, travelers, and everyday citizens talked about the importance of respect in a global world. The story became an example of how standing up for kindness and understanding can lead to real change. Aiko, who had been quiet during much of the process, began to speak more openly about her experience. She shared her feelings and hopes with the media and in public events. Her calm and respectful attitude won many hearts. People admired her courage and strength in facing a difficult situation without anger or hate. Through her story, Aiko helped others understand the importance of patience and empathy. She explained how accents and language differences are part of the beauty of a diverse world, not reasons for mockery. Her message was clear. Every traveler deserves to be treated with respect, no matter how they speak or where they come from. Meanwhile, the Japanese business group continued their work around the world. They met with new partners, explored new opportunities, and worked on exciting projects. But they never forgot the lesson from the airport. Respect was now an essential part of every business deal and every conversation. The airlines also saw positive results from their changes. Travelers began to notice the difference in customer service. Many shared their experiences online, saying how staff were kinder and more patient than before. This helped the airlines improve their reputation and attract more customers from around the world. This whole experience showed the power of careful action and respect. Instead of reacting with anger, the Japanese group chose to use their influence to bring positive change. The airlines listened, learned, and grew stronger because of it. The story also reminded people that mistakes can happen anywhere. But what matters most is how we respond. By choosing kindness and understanding, we can turn difficult moments into opportunities for growth. For Aiko, her quiet strength and the group's determination made a lasting impact. They showed the world that respect is not just about words, but about actions and choices every day. In the end, this was more than just a story about an airport incident. It was a story about how respect can connect people across cultures and countries. It was about the importance of standing up for dignity and kindness, even when it is not easy. The Japanese business group's actions became a lesson for airlines, travelers, and companies everywhere. They proved that respect is the foundation of good relationships and successful business. And it all began with one woman's calm voice, a group's united decision, and a shared belief that every person deserves to be treated with kindness and honor. The news about the Japanese business group's decision to withdraw their investments from the airlines made a big impact not only on the companies involved, but also on the public. People everywhere began to talk about what had happened at the airport and the powerful response that followed. The story touched many because it was about more than just money or business. It was about respect, fairness, and the way we treat each other in a global world. Many people shared their opinions in newspapers, on television, and through social media. Some praised the Japanese group for standing up for dignity and cultural respect. They admired how the group handled the situation calmly but firmly, showing that unfair treatment should never be ignored. Others called for airlines and airports around the world to improve their training and policies to prevent similar incidents in the future. The airlines involved in the incident faced a wave of attention. Customers began asking questions about how the companies were handling issues of cultural sensitivity and staff behavior. Some travelers shared their own stories of difficult experiences with airport or airline staff, while others offered suggestions on how companies could improve. The public interest pushed the airlines to act quickly and transparently. The companies understood that they needed to rebuild trust with not only the Japanese business group, but also all their customers. They started by publicly apologizing once again, not just to Aiko and her group, but to all travelers who might have felt disrespected. These apologies were shared through press releases, interviews, and official statements on their websites. More importantly, the airlines promised to make lasting changes. They began rolling out new programs focused on training employees to be more culturally aware and sensitive. Staff learned how to better understand travelers who spoke different languages or had accents. They practiced listening carefully and responding politely, even when communication was difficult. Airports connected to the airlines also joined the effort. They updated their customer service policies and began organizing workshops to help staff understand the diversity of travelers passing through their doors. The goal was clear. No traveler should ever feel mocked or unimportant because of where they came from or how they spoke. These changes were not easy to make, and the airlines had to invest time and resources, but they knew it was necessary for the future of their business. The incident with the Japanese group had shown them that respect is key to maintaining good relationships with customers around the world. The Japanese business group watched these developments closely. They continued to communicate with the airlines, offering advice and encouragement. They wanted to support the companies in making genuine improvements, not just temporary fixes. At the same time, the group shared their story with other businesses and organizations. They hoped to inspire others to recognize the importance of respect and cultural understanding in every part of life, especially in global business. Their experience became an example of how even difficult moments can be turned into opportunities for positive change. As time passed, the airlines began to see the benefits of their new approach. Customers reported better experiences, and more travelers from different countries felt comfortable and welcomed. The airlines' reputations improved, and their business grew stronger. This success showed that respecting customers is not only the right thing to do, but also smart business. By treating travelers with kindness and understanding, companies can build trust and loyalty that last for years. Meanwhile, Aiko and her group continued their work. They traveled to many countries and met with many people. Wherever they went, they carried the lesson of respect and dignity with them. They spoke about their experience not to blame or punish, but to encourage kindness and open-mindedness. Aiko herself became a quiet ambassador for cultural respect. She shared her story in interviews and conferences, always emphasizing the importance of patience, empathy, and understanding. Her message was simple but powerful. Every person deserves respect, no matter their language or background. The airport incident, which had started as a painful moment, became a story of hope and change. It showed how people can come together to make the world a better place by standing up for what is right. For many travelers, the story was a reminder that kindness can make a big difference in stressful situations. Airports and airlines can sometimes feel confusing or overwhelming, but respectful treatment helps people feel safe and valued. The airlines learned that small actions, like listening carefully and speaking politely, can create a welcoming environment for everyone. They saw that cultural sensitivity should be part of every employee's job, and that training is important to keep this message alive. The Japanese business group's actions also reminded businesses everywhere that respect and dignity are important parts of success. No company can grow if it treats people unfairly or ignores their feelings. The group's decision to withdraw investments was a powerful statement that helped raise awareness and change attitudes. In the end, the airport incident was more than a story about an accent or a rude comment. It was a story about respect, kindness, and the power of standing up for what is right. It showed that even in difficult moments, people can choose to respond with courage and hope. This story continues to inspire travelers, companies, and communities around the world. It encourages everyone to treat others with care and understanding, no matter where they come from or how they speak. The journey of Aiko and her group reminds us all that respect is a gift we can give every day. It is a choice that can bring people closer together and create a world where everyone feels valued and heard. After everything that happened, Aiko and the Japanese business group felt a deep sense of accomplishment. What had begun as a painful experience at the airport had grown into a powerful lesson for many people and companies around the world. They saw how their calm, thoughtful response had made a difference. The airlines had listened, changed, and promised to do better. Travelers from many countries now had a better chance of being treated with respect and kindness. But the journey was not over. Aiko and her group knew that respect is something that must be practiced every day, not just spoken about during a crisis. They continued to travel, meet new people, and share their message wherever they went. Their experience had taught them that small actions could have big effects, and they wanted to help others understand the power of kindness and understanding. One of the most important things they did was to work with schools and community groups. They believed that teaching young people about respect and cultural awareness was the key to creating a better future. Aiko visited schools to speak with students, telling her story in a way that inspired them to appreciate differences and speak up against unfair treatment. In these talks, Aiko explained that accents and languages are not obstacles but beautiful parts of our world's diversity. She encouraged students to be patient with people who speak differently and to always choose kindness over judgment. Her calm and gentle way of sharing her story made a strong impression on young listeners. The Japanese business group also partnered with organizations that supported travelers and immigrants. They helped create resources that explained travelers' rights and encouraged respect in airports and public places. Their goal was to make sure no one would ever feel alone or embarrassed because of their accent or background. Meanwhile, the airlines continued to improve. They held regular training sessions and made cultural sensitivity a core part of their customer service. They also created feedback programs, inviting travelers to share their experiences and suggestions. This openness helped build trust and showed that the airlines cared about more than just profits. They cared about people. The airlines' efforts were noticed by other companies and governments. Many began to follow their example and work on improving respect and understanding in public services. Airports in different countries started similar programs to train their staff and create a welcoming environment for all travelers. Aiko's story became a symbol of peaceful strength and positive change. It showed that standing up for respect does not need to be loud or aggressive. Sometimes it is the quiet courage of one person, supported by a group of friends, that can change the world. For the Japanese business group, this experience also strengthened their own bond. They realized that their shared values, respect, kindness, and fairness, were the foundation of their success in business and in life. They promised to continue living these values and to use their influence to help others. As time went on, the group grew even more respected in the global business community. Their story was told at conferences, in magazines, and on television. Many people wanted to learn from their example and apply the lessons of respect and cultural understanding in their own work. Aiko herself became a quiet leader, known for her wisdom and grace. She was invited to speak at important events about the power of empathy and patience. But she never forgot the moment at the airport that started it all. That moment reminded her that everyone deserves kindness, no matter how they speak or where they come from. Her experience also helped her grow personally. She became more confident and aware of the strength that comes from staying calm and respectful, even in difficult situations. Aiko's journey inspired many, showing that respect can open doors and build bridges between people and cultures. The airlines continued to benefit from the changes they made. Their customers felt safer and more welcome. The improvements helped attract travelers from all over the world, boosting business and creating friendships that crossed borders. This story also reminded businesses everywhere that respect and dignity are not just good ethics, they are good business. Companies that treat their customers well earn loyalty, trust, and long-term success. The Japanese business group's actions were a clear example of this truth. For travelers around the world, the airport incident and its outcome became a hopeful sign. It showed that even when things go wrong, respect and kindness can bring people together. It reminded everyone to be patient, to listen carefully, and to treat each other with care. In the end, the story of Aiko and her group was about much more than a single airport incident. It was about the power of respect to change hearts, minds, and even entire industries. It was about how a small act of mockery was turned into a great lesson in dignity. It was about the belief that every person, no matter their language or accent, deserves to be treated with kindness and honor. And it was about the hope that the world can become a more understanding and caring place, one respectful moment at a time. Aiko and her friends proved that respect is a force that can bring people closer, build trust, and inspire positive change. Their story encourages everyone to speak up when they see unfairness, to be patient with differences, and to choose kindness in every encounter. Through their experience, they taught the world that respect is not just an idea, it is a way of life that everyone can practice. And when people do this together, they create a future where everyone feels valued and welcomed.